What's up, you guys? Welcome to ANALDEATH'S Rock Show. It's currently Friday night. Usually I'm out getting fucked up with the boys or out hanging out with my chick, but all my boys are out with their girlfriends and my girlfriend's out of town, so I figure I'd spend it having a couple of drinky poos, talking to you guys about Motorhead. We're gonna go through some of my favorite stories of theirs on the road, backstage, on stage, and it's a whole bunch of fun. Here we go.
So welcome to my show where we like metal a lot, but we talk about it all. Hardcore punk rock. First I can't about I'm feeling just so you know. So grab a coffee or a beer, cause it's time for anal deaths.
First favorite story I have is that in 1980 it was very popular for people to go and get blood transfusions. So they suck all the blood out of your body and replace it with fresh, clean blood, right? They're supposed to get rid of toxins to make your body work better altogether, right? So Lemmy got in his head that it'd be a good idea for him to go get a full blood transfusion. However, when that happened, the doctor told Lemmy, this is a quote from Lemmy, he told me I didn't have human blood in my system anymore. Apparently, I had become so toxic, mostly from all the speed and alcohol, that fresh blood would have killed me. Treated his body like such a fucking circus. He couldn't get his blood replaced. Jeez, Jesus Christ. Only did the intro and fucking one story so far. We're already re-upping. Happy Friday, guys. Cheers. Well, I guess if we're gonna talk about Motorhead, that'll do it. Before Motorhead, as a lot of us know, Lemmy already had a band called Hawkwind. Now, he got kicked out of that for all kinds of fucking reasons. Well, just specifically for doing too many drugs. But before that, he was actually the roadie for Jimi Hendrix, which is so fucking cool. Specifically, the quote I found of Lemmy talking about his experience with the Jimi Hendrix experience. I'm gonna read this to you. I'm gonna try it in a Lemmy accent. Bear with me. Jimmy taught me how to find drugs in the most unlikely places because that was part of my job for him. All right, that's enough of that. All right, this is more of a Lemmy quote, but not in his accent. Sorry. That's how I learned to function on 5 hits of acid. But also I learned about theatrics and performing. Jimmy was so effortlessly cool and he would move like an elegant spider. He was always interested in the crowd. He made very bad jokes because he was so out of his mind. People couldn't figure out what he was talking about by the time he was finished. But he certainly was the best guitar player I'll ever see. Probably ever. That's so cool. Just imagine if you were the other roadie. Just imagine being on the road, roadieing for Jimi fucking Hendrix. And the other guy is young Lemmy before Motorhead. That would be the best fucking job of all time. The ultimate fuck around situation. All you gotta do is load gear and just annihilate drugs and alcohol. That has to be the coolest thing I think I've ever heard in my life. If you know Motorhead, you know that they're a 3-piece band, which is fucking crazy, just in part with how huge they sound. 3 pieces usually don't sound as big as Motorhead. But those 3 dudes are absolute rock stars, right? I know it's cliche to say that, but they are in part the definition of that word. This one's gonna be about their drummer, Filthy Animal Taylor. In 1980, Phil was out drinking with his pals, and one of his buddies picks Phil Taylor up over his head just to show him that he fucking could, and then drops him onto Filthy Animal's head and breaks his neck. Phil Taylor broke his neck, did not go to the doctor. You don't want to know what he did instead of going to the doctor? You know when you break your neck, you're like, fuck, I gotta go to the fucking doctor. Shit. Not him. You wanna know what he did? he put a fucking neck brace on it and went and played more Motorhead shows. I don't know if you've listened to Motorhead, but they're pretty fucking fast. And Filthy Animal Taylor's a motherfucker of a drummer. Playing a Motorhead set with a broken neck is fucking insane. Could you imagine that? That's like the equivalent of moving an apartment with 2 fucking broken arms. For me, it's been very fun curating this podcast because Motorhead's fun. The stories are fun. The music's fun. The whole kit and fucking caboodle's fun. We're laughing. We're drinking. We're chilling. We're talking about Motorhead. You can't not have fun doing that, right? This story, on the other hand, is just heartwarming. It's just fucking neat. 2005, that's right about when I first started finding metal or trying to grow past AC/DC and Sabbath and found Avenged Sevenfold and Pantera, right? We're growing. So it's 2005, I'm watching fucking WrestleMania, Triple H walks out, and who's playing over there? It's fucking Motorhead. When I was a kid, I didn't quite get Motorhead yet. It took me some time, but I still knew that it was fucking cool. So what I want to do is read to you a quote from Triple H that gives me the gnarliest goosebumps. Triple H: "They played me to the ring at 2 different WrestleManias. I was on the riser coming up to the stage with the world title on me, and there's lasers, and there's pyro, and you look to your left, and there's Lemmy, and he's singing a song about you. I got in the ring, I turn around and point at him, he's on the stage, he points straight back at me, and there was just this moment, this connection. I'll never forget that." That's so cool. It's like Triple H and Lemmy just like, "Yo, motherfucker. What up, also, motherfucker?" That's just the coolest shit in the fucking world, dude. It's fucking goosebumps. Like, that's... how do you find something cooler than that? Like, is there a cooler moment? Fuck, like, that's... I mean, can you, like, include maybe George Washington? Is there, like, anybody... Maybe it's Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? Can you get him in there? I mean, that's, like, the only way you could make that cooler. Other than that, Triple H walking out to Motorhead is the coolest thing ever, and then retelling that story and just having that cool memory of one of the coolest dudes to ever fucking do it. So this next story is one of my favorites on the list, specifically because there's a few different adaptations of it, and so I kind of grabbed from each story and kind of to Frankenstein this to put it all together, which in my opinion just makes it that much more mythical and fun. So in 1969, Lemmy's friend's girlfriend used to work for a pharmacy. So if you know anything about Motorhead, you know that Lemmy had a fondness for speed, amphetamines, all that fun shit. So Lemmy and his friend convinced his friend's girlfriend to steal some of the amphetamines that she had there at the pharmacy that she worked at. Unfortunately, instead she grabbed what's called atropine sulfate. What atropine sulfate is an extremely strong muscle relaxer. So if you guys know anything about speed brings you up. Muscle relaxers obviously do the exact opposite of that. So when she brought home the atropine sulfate, Lemmy poured himself a teaspoon of it and drank it, which is 200 times the overdose amount. Not 200 times the dose, 200 times the amount that you overdose on. In Lemmy's book, he talks about having a conversation with a TV was holding underneath his arm, and then just waking up in the fucking hospital. Doctors actually told him that if he came in 1 hour later, he would have died. For an entire 2 weeks after he took that overdose, he was having continued hallucinations to the point where he could barely even sleep because reality felt like a dream and dreams felt like reality. He even mentioned that he'd be reading a book and he'd turn to page 42 and then there would be no book. Where'd that fucking book go? That shit's hilarious. Just as a little bonus factoid, as he had hallucinations for 2 weeks, a totally different circumstance, but since we're talking 2 weeks came up, whatever, sparked my memory. There's another instance where he took so much speed that Lemmy had a 2-week bender. He didn't sleep for 2 motherfucking weeks. 2 weeks, no sleep. That's who fucking Lemmy was. That's the fucking man. If I did that, if you did that, we'd go fucking crazy. Unless For the next few minutes, we're just gonna talk about Lemmy getting head. There was one time he said on stage, I think it was right when Motorhead started, they're playing a smaller club, and Lemmy recollects about one time a girl just got on stage and started sucking his dick while he was playing. And all he could say was, I couldn't stop playing. This was fucking great. One time he finished the show and walked backstage and immediately collapsed, and he blamed it on getting 3 blowjobs that day. He said he fucking collapsed after his show. Not because of drugs or exhaustion or alcohol, but because he got head 3 times earlier. Let me get you a Lemmy quote. And I fucking had a couple cocktails. I might be able to get it down. Let me see. There were chicks all over the place. And there was this really cute Indian bud. She was 2 of them. Something I love about Lemmy is, from what I've done, because I've done a lot of research on this, I'm looking all kinds of shit up, and also just being a huge fucking fan, that Lemmy always has a punchline. He's always fucking with you or telling a joke or something, and it always ends with just a little fucking kick in the nuts. Anyway, guys, Motorhead was a shit. Lemmy was the man. I had so much fun putting this curation together, like just doing the research, stuff I already knew, just listening to Motorhead the whole time while I'm reading and clicking away and taking notes. It's just the most fucking fun shit in the world, so I love it. I love you. If you've made it this far, this is probably the first real episode I've done, so I'm sorry for the editing. I'm sorry if I can only halfway talk. But I do really appreciate you, because you're either listening to this right out of the get-go and it's really bad, or you're back from the future, which is fucking sick as hell. And I really fucking genuinely appreciate that. So I'm gonna go smoke a couple cigarettes and call my old lady and finish this cocktail and probably get my ass to bed. I love you. Cheers, guys.